interview. I did not find my Mr. Rogers cardigan for the interview, but we'll be okay. It is a pleasure for me to interview Neil. I've known Neil, my family's known Neil all my life. So it's really fun through the years to have worked for you, knew all your kids and all that, but we're gonna just get started with some basic questions. Neil's a great storyteller, so I don't want to talk a lot. So we're going through some of the ones that the Historical Society asked. Jen, I lost my card. Okay.
If you need a reminder, just let me know.
Okay. Well, he is known in these parts as the Oracle, so he's a great storyteller. But we're going to go through a few questions. First of all, when did your first family members arrive in Liberty Grove?
Well, my great-great-grandfather, I don't know, I'm not exactly sure exactly when. I know that my history goes back on the Carlson side of my family, back to 1784 in Oslo, Norway. So I'm not sure when they arrived in Port County, but my great-great-grandfather, I remember him because he was the founder of the Bethel Baptist Church up here on the northern end here, and I remember him a little bit, and his wife. They were descendants through the line of Weavers, and it came down that they. I'm not sure exactly when they arrived in North County, but probably in the mid-1800s, I would say that they arrived in North County.
And so did all of the generations then stay here?
Pretty much, yeah. My grandfather, he lived in Appleport, and I said around Fort Cemetery out there. There's a number of gravestones that have the Teskie, because their name used to be Teskie.
With an A on it?
Yeah. My grandfather changed it to Teskie. You know why? My dad said he thought it was more American, that's all.
So you said that was the Weaver side.
Well, yeah.
And then what about the other side? Where did they come from?
The Teskie side, I'm not quite as sure on that side so much. I got some records at home, but I read them off and on, but I forget what time.
That's all right. Do you know why they moved here? Was it to start the church?
No, the church, I don't know why he started the church. He just started the church, and they didn't move here because of that. My grandpa Teskie, he was in the Appleport area. They had a bunch of, where Susie has her place now, that is where the homestead used to be for the Teskies. And he had a bunch of sisters and whatever, but I wasn't real close to the sisters and brothers.
Do you know what was their occupation? Were they
farming, dairy farming.
Dairy farming.
And logging, really logging.
Do you remember your original home, and is it still there?
My original home, I was born in Ellison Bay, and they took me to Gills Rock. That's been my hometown ever since. My original home was Cottage Street. It was a 20 by 30 foot building. It's still there. It's still Cottage Street. Matter of fact, the people that bought it brought me the original. I put it in the middle of Cottage Street number. He gave me that number. I keep it in my drawers as a reminder. That's where I came from. I lived there in Cottage Street, Cottage Road, and right across the road, my grandma and Grandma Teskie lived. And then right down below that was the back.
Right, and that's all still there.
That's all still there,
yeah. So a little bit, well, you've got a lot of history. So talk about once you were a young man and met this young lady, or just tell about those years. So once
older when I met her.
You were old. Oh, okay. So just tell about what you did as an occupation.
I came from Gills Rock. Was a very interesting place to grow up in. It was very. It was a commercial fishing town. There was many commercial fishermen there. My dad and my grandfather included. I would go over to the docks to watch the fishermen bring in their catches and watch them clean fish and watch the boats come in. And I got to visit, and there was like 3 or 4 smokehouses over there in Hills Rock, and my brother and I would sit in the morning on the end of the dock, and we'd see where the smoke was coming out, and then we'd go over there to get smoked fish. My grandfather had ran a charter boat there for bass and perch. He had a boat called the Penguin. So I used to go over to Washington Island and help him. He wanted me along because I would take hooks for when he didn't want to put the worm on. So I did that, and then when I was about 10, 12, maybe 13 years old, somewhere in that work area, my dad took me on this gym, and we went up to Chambers Island and set gill nets. And I liked the fishing part. I had a stand on a box in order to clear the nets because I was so short. Never did get much bigger, but I loved the fishing with my dad, but I got seasick all the time. So I finally told my dad not to make me breakfast anymore because we were wasting it. And I wanted to one morning, walking across the road, go past Grandma's house and go down to the dock. And I was waiting for my dad to come down and start the engine, and the boat was moving up and down in the harbor. And I stood up in the dock, and I got seasick standing in the dock.
Did you ever overcome that?
Well, I did that. It took me a long time. It was when I was like I graduated from college in '71, and I think about a couple of years after that, I wanted to be a commercial fisherman, and that seasick part was not be part of it for the rest of my life.
That does not seem like it would make
So
sense.
that's what I did. I went to Gibraltar High School, graduated in '67 and '71. I graduated from Carroll College. And my dad wanted me to go to Carroll College because he wanted me to have an active plan of fishing. Because his said fishing is called fishing. It's not called catching. So, but I was 2 days after I graduated, I came back and started fishing with my dad, and I continued to do something to this day. So I just when I graduated from college, my dad was fishing in St. Ignace and Frankfort, Michigan for a couple of years because the fishing was kind of poor here. So he took it, came to graduation, he said the fishing looked like it was going to get better, and he wanted to know if I still wanted to help him. My dad made it abundantly clear that I could do whatever I want. I did not have to be a commercial fisherman. When you get into that type of occupation, you have to get into it by choice, not being expected to do it, because you can't be. Many people only, it's dirty, it's cold, it's wet, and sometimes the pay isn't too good, which is almost the time. So I started fishing with my dad. Fishing did get a lot better over the next 25, 30 years. We had a couple of years where we produced between 200 and 250,000 pounds of whitefish. I see one of my friends back there, Charlie's back there, he helped harvest many of those fish. So we caught a lot of fish, a lot of chops too.
And what did you study in college? Just
sociology and psychology. I would always say that I came handy with 7 kids.
Yeah. Right?
Especially the 6 of them were girls.
So fishing.
Yeah, I had a lot of girls.
Yeah.
One boy and 7 girls.
Yeah.
8 children.
Yeah. So you fished the whole time, basically?
Yeah, I always fished. I always like growing stuff. I still grow strawberries and raspberries, sweet cherries and apples. I remember when I was small, like 10, 12 years old, somewhere in that area also, I had a little garden in Hills Rock, and I would grow my tomatoes and my beans and whatever, and I'd put them in a basket on my bicycle, and I'd run around to the cottages and sell my vegetables at the cottages in Hills Rock. So I was always I really like to grow stuff.
When did, because I worked picking berries for you, really hard work, but when did that start? I mean, when you started really camping up here.
I bought the farm there in '73, and there was some berries on the farm already, and some tart cherries, and I just kept it going. Raspberries, I had raspberries, and I had, we had tart cherries there for, I had about 16, 20 acres of tart cherries, and I eventually got rid of them because it was just, it wasn't a winning proposition, let's put it that way. I thought, so I don't have the tart cherries anymore, I just got sweet cherries, apples, and strawberries, and raspberries now. We put it in front, and I put in 600 tomato plants last week. But no sweet corn this year, too dry. So.
It seems like at the time strawberries were really a big.
Well, they still are.
Yeah.
They still are. The property we own there is unique because it seems to be able, it has the sweetest and the best tasting fruit around, and I don't even have to advertise because people come from May Harbor, even north of Sturgeon Bay up to get berries by us and pick their own. People pick their own also. So, and we had like a bunch of kids there at some time. It was Fran was one took care of. I was out fishing and she'd take care of you guys picking berries. She was the taskmaster.
She was, and she could outwork all of us. I mean, always. And she would come around in her pickup truck and throw us all in the back. Because after work early, I feel like it was like 5:30 something before it got hot. Yeah, early morning. We picked for multiple hours. We'd be like, is she getting tired yet? Didn't happen. But
we had the trampoline in the pool there when you were there?
you did when I was a little bit older. Yeah. But I think I maybe stopped you guys.
That was a good drawing.
Yes, for sure.
Fingers.
Yeah. And I feel like, I can't remember, was it 25 cents a quart we got paid or whatever? We got paid by the quart, but it had to pass inspection. Because if you filled it up with all just the big berries, that didn't really go. Or if you were my brother and squished all the berries. John squished all the berries.
Some people did that, but they didn't have to do it.
Right, yeah. So, anyway, I'll go back to a couple of these things. So, what part did the proximity of a large body of water, Lake Michigan, play in the lives of the people in the area when you were growing up?
Well, there's always been commercial fishing here, and there was a lot more. There was commercial fishermen in Sister Bay, commercial fishermen in Fish Creek, Ellison Bay had commercial fishermen in Gilsborough, commercial fishermen in Raleigh Bay, and commercial fishermen in Ellison Harbor. Some places still have them, but not very many anymore. So, and the commercial fishing has been like, well, it's been the vacuum well, Door County has a unique thing because it has so much shoreline and so much fish can be caught here. Originally it was lake trout, and sea lions took on the lake trout in the 50s, late 40s, early 50s. And then the whitefish survived because they had heavier scales than the lake trout preferred the finer scales on the lavender preferred the finer scales on the lake trout. So in the water to me has always been like part of me. Because anytime I had a chance to get on the water or go on my dad bought me a little boat, tram, and I was run around the Gills Rock and race the ferry. I had one once in a while. And my dad bought me a 46 craft, which we did and got it all working again. And those projects like that were something that developed my ability to fix stuff. So because my dad, we didn't have cell phones,
Right.
and so I occupied my time with doing fishing and whatever. And then when I started fishing with my dad, I did the farming and the fishing, basically.
So, talk to us about a day in the life of a fisherman. What does that look like?
Well, most of the time we get up in the morning and try to leave the dock at a time when we get to the nets by daybreak. And then because earlier, if we get there by daybreak, it's the best because the wind is your enemy. So early in the morning, the wind usually lays down for a while. As soon as the land starts heating up, then the winds pick up. So we like to get there by daylight and start lifting nets, and then we lift whatever nets we have, and then we bring the fish home, and clean them up and pack them in boxes and put them in the cooler in Ellison Bay right across from the fire station there. And that's where that cooler there is still owned by us, and I have part of the ownership in that. But Harley Olsen used to buy all our fish, and we used to ship them to Harley. So, but I enjoyed the water. I enjoyed the water. I was talking to somebody earlier about when I get reach critical limit in my work schedule at home or whatever, and I want to take a break, I'll jump in the truck and go down and test it, look at the water, because the water is like my therapy. So it has a calming effect on me. I don't know why it is. I went to Arizona one time and I had to leave there because lots of rocks and dirt, no water. No water stuff in the swimming pool.
And during those times, what type of fish are you catching?
Primarily whitefish. Primarily whitefish and shells. We did a little perch fishing, but mostly whitefish and shells. Primarily whitefish. So.
And maybe talk a little bit about how you set nets and what that looks like and what you
I really started out setting gill nets, and you set gill nets. There's two openings on the boat, the back, the stern and the side of the boat, where you put a roller out there. There's a gill net lifter that comes in, and you pull the nets in over the roller, and it drops to the table, and you pick the fish out there. And then when you're done with doing that job, the nets are about 1,000-foot boxes or something like 1,200 foot, and they're sections, so we just take them apart. And when we want to go set back, we turn the boat around, we throw that buoy and the anchor out, and then we throw the nets over, we put them over a bar and spread them out again, and then they spread them out, and then we just travel down where we want to go with the nets, and then they go in the water, they sit up right at the bottom of the water with gill nets. And then when I got back from college in '71, I fished pond nets with pole nets with Mark Weaver and Jeff and Marv and my dad. We combined together. We fished pole nets. Pole nets. Best way to describe it is that there's 7 stakes that are anywhere from 90 to 110 feet long, and we put them into the bottom, and we make a 40 by 40 foot box out of it. And then we cable it around, and there's a lot of, and there's a wood pole that goes across, and the netting goes all the way to the top. There's a box in there that has 2 tunnels in it to let the fish in, and then there's a setup, what they call arts, that go on like this and like that, and there's a lead in the middle, and the fish follow that in, and follow into the openings, and they end up in the pot. But that was before we didn't have any winches or anything. We just pulled everything by hand. So, and there, nothing was nylon or polypropylene like it is now. It was all cotton. Everything had to be tarred, and we used cold tar. We used to have to keep it up with steam jetty and to keep it covered. And then we'd have to tar it with cold tar. It was pretty nasty. So, and then when ponds, we did that for quite a while. But the fatness became prevalent here in '76. I believe it was. My dad and Clayton and myself, we bought the boat from Francis and some trap nets and started fishing trap nets. Trap nets are about the same as the pond, except you don't have the stakes involved. You just have anchors involved, and they're not all the way to the surface like the pond is. And then we did that. I did that until a number of years ago, and then when the zebra and the quagga was really messed up the ecology or the food chain here, so it messed up the fishing. So it started to get less and less and less, and eventually I got rid of the Francis and the pond nets and the trap nets.
So you don't do much fishing now?
I still have 2 commercial licenses, and I still have a gillet boat. The engine's bad. It's out of the water by Yacht Works. I still have a tremendous amount of whitefish quota here yet. Quota that is what has the value to it. I still have I think about almost 16% of the quota for the northern end of our county. So for whitefish, for chubs, I have different various permits, even from here, and I get a permit all the way, I can fish chubs all the way down to the Illinois border.
So what does it take to get a permit? Like, what is the licensing and what do you have to?
Well, back when I started fishing here, it was pretty easy to get a license, and you just had a, I don't remember what the fee was at the time, but I applied for a license. My dad had one, I had one, and you apply with the Department of Natural Resources, and then over the years they started to, every time you, a commercial fisherman did renew the license, they retired it. But now they got to the point, I think they still have about approximately 60 licenses that are available, and about 50 or 55 or something like that are being used. I'm not sure of the number, but you have to renew those every year. So.
I was thinking about something else. Anybody in your family taking on after you?
No, Joe, my son Joe, he went to the Navy right out of high school. Just didn't have an interest in it. I mean, like I said, you don't get into the fishing unless you want to do it for. I did it to make a living, but I also did it because I liked. My brother did it for a long time, and he fished with us for a while. And then he quit, and I said, "Why did you quit?" He said, "I got into fishing for the wrong reason." I said, "What was that?" He said, "I thought I was going to make a lot of money." so I got into make a living, but that wasn't my goal. My goal was to, I just wanted to fish. And I knew that I could, I worked hard. It is hard, a lot of hard work and lots of hours. And you know, you got 40 hours in by the middle of the week, you know. So if you work hard and you get ahead, and if you get set back, you just work a little harder. You just got to keep pushing on, because you can't get discouraged. The storm would come by and blow into the nest or something, and then we fix them all up and go back at it again. My theory is always, not theory, but my motto is always that persistent and consistent. So if you're persistent and consistent, or being prepared for the opportunity. I remember one time I was fishing gillnets outside of Ellison Bay here, and I had kept my ice fishing rig for we were fishing on the ice, under the ice, and I kept my ice fishing rig in shape. Somebody mentioned to Charlie that I was lucky. Charlie told me he wasn't lucky, he was just prepared for the opportunity. So that's what happened. So I was prepared for the opportunity.
So that's another question. What is the fishing season? I mean,
the only month, the trout season is now pretty much open year round, I think, and the whitefish season is only closed for the month of November. I was fishing one time, I gotta tell this story here. I was fishing out there one time with Charlie Henderson. I don't remember the exact year, but it was Valentine's Day. It was like 1986 or something like that. I don't think Charlie remembers either, but what year it was exactly. But we went, we left Ellison Bay, or it was one day we were going to set some more nets. And he had a sleigh out with the nets, and I had a sleigh out with the jiffy auger and a jigger used for running the lines. And we got up outside of the ball field about 2 miles or so, and then there was this crack on the ice, and it looked really strange. And I broke one of my rules. If I wasn't sure, I would take the chisel and check, block it out to see if it was safe. And I did do that, because we were in a hurry. At least I was anyway. And I went across that crack, and all of a sudden open water came out from underneath me, and the snowmobile started sinking. So my dad had told me that whatever you do in that situation, always get away from the gear of the equipment. So I got up in the snowmobile seat, and I jumped as far as I could. Snowmobile tipped that way, I jumped as far as I could. That Charlie told me that I looked like I shot through the air. so I landed in the ice, and I did a lunge, and then the ice finally held me, and I put my gloves up, put my hands up on the ice to try to freeze my hands fast, so I would slide back in. Another thing my dad told me I should do, and I waited for Charlie, because I wasn't getting out. I heard Charlie walking up, and I had my head down, and he told me he didn't know if I was praying or sleeping. I said I was doing more. And he pulled me back up on the ice, and he says, "Are you all right?" I said, I'm all right, but I'm not all right. So we went home, and I got clothes changed, and Charlie came to my door and said, we're going to go out and get the gear back, and the snowmobile back and stuff. I said, oh, I can't go out there. He said, you're going out there, but I have to drag you out there. He said, if you don't go out there now, you probably never go out there again. So I went out there, when I was scared of that hole. I was kidding. So we got out there, I had a bunch of guys out there, we threw grapplers down, set up a system where we switched back and forth between chain jacks and cable jacks, and we hooked up to the snowmobile, we pulled it back up to the surface, and the sleigh was still there. The snowmobile I didn't worry about, but I needed that sleigh back. And the equipment that was on was pretty important for our fishing. It's stuff that you can't just go to the hardware store and buy. So I got it back up to the surface and pulled up the sleigh, and after my thermos was still in there, so I pulled up my thermos and Fred had maybe I had hot to the soup. I poured it for myself. And the next spring, I get a letter in the mail from Glasgow, Michigan. I had no idea what it is. And I opened it up, and it's got my snowmobile registration sticker with it.
Oh, wow.
And I said, well, they were in a lunch pail. And I even lunch pail, and somehow I made it all the way across, all the way to Glasgow, Michigan. And it ended up in the beach where some guy found it and sent me the registration back. So that's I was sick a couple times too, but that's about the scariest one I ever had. So thanks to Charlie, you know, he stood up for my wedding and he pulled me out of the ice.
You also had your Valentine card in.
Yeah. He told me that was messed up.
That's why we remember Valentine.
Yeah.
So that was your worst day. You were out on a snowmobile.
Yeah.
Talk about like what it was like when a storm would come up or something like that.
Well, it's you know, my dad, everybody always asks what kind of weather you go out in. It's not what you go out in, it's what you get caught in. Sometimes we get caught in stuff that we weren't expecting. I mean, I've been in a lake where it was blowing. Charlie was actually along when we were lifting chubbs one time in January in Lake Michigan, and we hadn't been able to get out for a long time because it had been so windy. It started blowing, and I stuck my hand out the window of the boat, and I said, if you're going to blow, come on and blow. Well, it must have hurt me. It started blowing. We couldn't even get all the fish picked out of the nets because we had so many chubs. And coming home was just unbelievable because it was washing the trucks off the dock at San Bay. So the seas were so big out there that the only time we could see Ricky Johnson was when we were both on top of the swell. Otherwise we were, and I've been the day that the end of the Fitzgerald went down, I was taking a boat from Gills Rock to Sister Bay in November. That was November 10th, the day the Fitzgerald went down. And I was taking a boat around that boat. We were working on the boat on the bottom. And I left Gills Rock. It was dead calm, but I didn't have any communication in there because I had taken the radios and all that stuff off because we were painting. And by the time I got to Ellison Bay, our Sister Bay was blowing 70 miles an hour. So I made the corner by Yahweh's. Our dock was a little bit different than it is now. And I could see 3 guys standing on one side, 3 guys standing on the other side of the dock. You couldn't see the dock. They were up to their knees in water. The water was all awash, and there used to be that house motel and pier there. I thought for sure the waves were going to toss me right up onto the beach, but I took a kind of a guess where the opening was, and I opened it up wide open, throttle wide open. I came in wide open, landed, hit the opening. And my dad told me later that I did a good job. But then we went to where JD's is now. They used to be Eileen's restaurant, and we went in there to have coffee, and then that's when we heard that the Fitzgerald went down. So one of many stories.
Yeah. And actually, you guys were talking a little bit about the roller skating.
Oh, well.
So I think that we're transitioning out of fishing for a little bit, talking about Ellison Bay.
Ellison Bay, the Viking has been here forever, as far as I can remember. There used to be actually a blacksmith shop right over the parking lot is over here. Dory Miner was over here. Across the road here, that was Norland Resort. It was where Charlie had two scoops of sold ice cream over there. And then he also had ran a restaurant over there, Marco Polo, for a while. And then across the road, before my time, they played back above the Big River Basin. There was a basketball court up there, and they also played the roller skating up there and had dances. So that was part of the and that place over there was Virginia Johnson Feats owned her parents owned the place. The Clayton Johnson, they were going to auction it off, and they went. So Clayton was trying to jack up the price of the auction, and nobody overbid it. So he ended up in the place, and Virginia cried. she didn't want anything to do with the place. But I spent a lot of time over there because we used to bring our fish in there, and he had a shed in the back. In the winter, to have all the ice, we used to weigh fish there.
So was that Clayton's? Is that
That was Clayton. That was Clayton. Yeah, over the. It was up above. It was up above that, up above at the top. It was over the. I don't know what. I've never been up there, but there was. They did some roller skating up there or whatever. And
You weren't a roller skater?
No, that wasn't going on when I was going up there. So.
Interesting. But the Pioneer Store.
Pioneer Store was always been there, and there used to be Will's Grocery over here with the bookstores now. So, and I can't remember that. And the Women's Club, that's always been there.
What about up in Hillstrap?
Not a whole lot has changed. The Shoreline Restaurant has been there, but it's changed hands and turned shapes. And Charlie's Smokehouse has been there for a long time because Roy Hoyt was his dad, and he used to have the smoked fish place used to be right down on the ferry dock with Scandinavian gift shop is now. And boy, not a whole lot has changed there. There's no, the town is bought up the old Weaver Hanson property there for the docks and stuff. Weaver still got their dock there. But they still operate fishing out of there.
The ferry used to.
The ferry used to land down there too, but right down with the Scandinavian gift shop is right there. That used to be the main landing for the dock there. And every once in a while they couldn't land there, and then they would run all the way around to Ellison Bay because they didn't land over there because of the weather. If they got bad weather, they would land over there. And then they put the new harbor down in Northport. Now they pretty much use that. That's almost all they ever use.
Going way back, and we kind of talked about this, I don't know if you have anything to say, but what effect did the wars have on this area?
I don't remember much of that. I don't remember. My dad was working in the shipyard when World War II broke out, and he enlisted in the Navy, and because he was a shipyard worker, he was a ship fitter in the Navy. They said he was over in some area by the Philippines called the Kwajalein Islands. They had a natural atoll over there where they could bring ships in and make it into a dry dock. So they pumped the water out of it so that they could work on the ships in a dry dock situation. He stayed there for 2.5 years, and then he came back. He got sick over there. He told me some interesting stories over there. He said he would go out at night and eat fish. Obviously, he'd catch fish, and then he would give them to the cooks in the kitchen, and they would give him fruit cocktail and sugar, and he'd go out and take these jugs and they'd bury it in the sand and make wine. They buried it in the sand and they would stick straws out. The CO, he smelled it but didn't know where it was. So then every I guess once a week on the weekends, everybody would save their beer rations for the week, and they take their beer ration and their wine and go over to the other side of the island and have a fish fry and drink and have a party. So he said they had 5 women in there when they took them off because it was too much trouble. But I still got pictures of my dad holding up fish at the islands. He caught those there. He took night guard duty because that made him fish all night.
Once a fisherman.
Yeah.
Yeah. you told me earlier that you are doing fish boils now,
Right.
so, but you want to talk a little bit about fish boils and how that came about and how?
Well, being in the commercial fishing industry, living in Gills Rock, fish boils they were commonplace. And I started I did some boils for my friends in high school and college, and off and on, and then in 2009 and 2010, I was working for the Hickey Brothers Fishing, and I decided I have a restaurant, that Don, the guy that was running it, he asked me if I wanted to boil fish, so I worked one summer there, helping boil fish a couple nights a week, and then I boiled fish at the Viking Grill over there for one summer, and then the next summer after that, I would boil fish at the White Girl House, so we boiled for 15,000 people a year there.
What?
Yeah, and 50,000 people would boil there. We boil 4 nights a week, 3 boils, 12 boils a week. So.
Wow. And so how many come at each sitting then?
Well, we do about, when it's full boils, 150 to 200 people. I mean, not each sitting, but three sittings a night. So I do the fish boils, and I do much the same. I do boil the fish, and I talk. You know, I had to do it proud.
You're great storyteller.
Yeah.
That's good.
Well, I have a story to tell. You see, one thing about me, I don't have to make up stories.
Yeah, it all happened to you.
Yeah.
So we talked about businesses.
I didn't talk about this church. This church is building here. This was my church, the Trinity Lutheran Church, and I was baptized here when I was 12 years old, and I was acolyte here for many years, lighting the candles and assisting the pastor. I got married here, and what else did I do here? I can't remember. I confirmed here, so this building has a lot of history. My history is right here in this building. So it's still pretty nice to sit right there.
Were you in the choir?
No, I could not carry a tune. They kicked me out of the choir. When I was trying to sing in a gospel, they asked me to do something else. I threw everybody off. I threw everybody off the back because I had no ear for calling. So they asked me if I could just do something else, read scripture or something like that. So they just moved me on because I threw everybody off the back.
So let's go back to and I don't know, this might have been Mark Fran's thing, but Very Best Foods. People may not know that was.
Well, we started Very Best Foods. I can't remember when it was. It was like in the 90s, and we built the Very Best Foods, and we served smoked fish and farmers markets, stuff, pies, jams, jellies, cheese, stuff like that, and fresh fish, of course. And then the business was, we had great products, but we couldn't make enough money to keep it rolling, so we shut it down. So we were in the wrong place at the wrong time. We still have the place, we still have the conditional use permits, and I will be smoking fish this year here. I went back and I have a licensed kitchen now, and I also went to Madison 4 weeks ago, and it became seafood HACCP certified. So, not that I needed to do that, but it's good to have that when the inspector comes. I had to put a big plaque right in the door. Well, there was a lot of people there from other businesses that smoke a lot of fish that are much larger than what I was. I was like small potatoes compared to them. And they were there to get certified too, because they're starting to require that HACCP certification. HACCP means hazard analysis critical control points. And if you don't have that certification, some places they don't, at least one person in the building has to have that. So I'm the only person in the building, but I still have to have it.
That was, we loved Very Best Foods.
Well, I was there with salmon and whitefish again. basically to sell at farmers markets. And I like to put something cooler by the road. I don't know where I'm going with this yet. I'm trying not to kill myself doing it. I gotta smoke my fish either tomorrow or Friday morning. My daughter Kira's getting married on Saturday.
Your
So-
granddaughter.
My granddaughter, excuse me, granddaughter. My daughter Becca got married 2 years ago. And I'm gonna start smoking. I'm smoking fish for the reception.
Oh.
That's my wedding present. So.
Nice. So I know that when Jan talked to you the other day, that talking about your roles as a farmer and as a fisherman, but the thing that you wanted to be known for was being a father.
Well, I did my best, and I never, I'll be honest with you, I never denied my children anything I could give them. If they needed money, if they needed advice, they didn't like me a lot, I know that. But let's put it this way, all my family, we all talk to each other, we communicate with each other to this day. Some families don't have that. So that's more important to me than anything else. They didn't like me because I made them pick rocks, they made them pick berries, but they all learned to work. My daughter Mary Kay is a very successful real estate agent here.
Yes.
Joe went in the Navy for 9 years, and he's in the tech field, and now he's in Washington D.C. He was in South Beach, Florida. My daughter Bethy is a massage therapist manager at Coal Lodge in Green Bay.
I saw her with some pictures on Facebook of fishing.
Yeah.
Getting some big fish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you that story about that. But and then my daughter Rosie is practically a nurse practitioner. She's a really good nurse. And my daughter Rachel, which I call my son Ray, because she was a tomboy. She's the one I had to buy the deer rifle for. But anyway, she, a number of years ago, about 15 years or so, she put herself through auto tech school and became an auto technician. And she is actually the head of the service department at Russ Aero Direct now. So my daughter Karen, of course, died with Amanda in a car accident. And then my daughter Rebecca is ICU nurse in Appleton. So we talk back and forth. I have the house full of my kids this weekend. It'll be for the wedding. And that's the legacy I want to leave with my family. And we Mary and Joe graduated from Gibraltar, Frank homeschooled the other 5 for 10 years. Rebecca, we finally put her back in school at Gibraltar. She graduated from Gibraltar. And so homeschooling was pretty much controversial when we started doing it. And your sister did it. And everybody told us that our kids would be socialized. Maybe they're socialized. and they wouldn't get a good education. But we enrolled them in the satellite school, and we, paid for they had diplomas from Christian Liberty Academy. I think that's where we went, right? And so everybody did well. They did. I'm sure there was hard feelings for some of my kids because they didn't get involved in the activities at the school. But the school didn't want us to get involved until all of a sudden they realized they weren't getting their dollars.
But the social aspect of what I remember at your house too was that there was kids there all the time. Like you constantly had kids there.
We had 17 people stay with us one summer. We had the Whitners there, we had the Glassons there, we had, some of our nieces and our nephews were there. We just had a house full of people. So everybody.
Because they worked for us.
Yeah.
But also you made it a place where kids wanted to be. You guys were
Yeah, we
always
had the pool and the trampoline.
And it was something that wasn't in the city. It was some different place to go for the summer, and some of their parents were glad to have them off their hands for a while. It was kind of hectic sometimes when I many people staying there for the summer. So. Yeah.
All right, where are we at?
About 10 to.
Okay.
What?
We got 10 minutes. Tell us a couple of your best stories. Do we have like...
I almost, let's see, I don't know if I got any more.
Oh, come on, Bill, come on.
Oh, the best stories.
Well, actually, we talked about this too. Not only did, you guys had a lot of girls and a boy, and our family did, but you guys had your house burned down too.
Well,
like we did.
Well,
We talked about community.
1978, we went to watch a football game, Monday night football game. We came back home and the roof was leaking. We had a Ashley stove in there properly installed went through the wall and hit a turn and went to the chimney. But we had a dresser there that we kept there because the door was swinging over up against the stovepipe and burned a hole in it. So we kept the dresser there. We cleaned the room and put the dresser back and went to watch the football game. Came home and it was 0 out. And my roof was leaking. I said, I gotta put more insulation in the attic. Well, when I got to the back door, it was full of smoke and the house was on fire. I remember Mary Kay saying, what about the dogs? I said, well, they're not by the door, they're not alive. So we lost our dogs. I went in and tried to get the fire, put out the fire with the fire extinguisher, probably something we should never do, but I went in and grabbed the fire extinguisher, came back out when the last where the fire was. Fire department came, and every time they pulled the hole, the fire got bigger, and your dad was there. And I remember this thing, he said, you want water? I'll get you water. Because he might have the big, he was running a septic service.
Yeah,
Septic service. So yeah, he said, I gotta pay, I'll give you 10,000 gallons I can here. So he went down and got water for him. And then I remember Charlie Henderson, they were trying to break into the house, to get in the house, and they had this saw they were trying to get started, and Charlie just walked up to give the door kick. He said, "That was open." He just saw. And then your dad that night, he said, "Where do you got your records? Your paperwork?" I said, "Well, it's up there in that room." Well, at that room there was a back porch on the second floor that we used to sit on whenever out there, and there was a door there, of course. And we went down a ladder and we were going up there, and then the fire department, "Oh, you can't go in there without water." So they wanted a hose over there. Well, it froze. Your dad took that hose and he bent it over like a garden hose. And he took the nozzle off with his bare hands, twisted off the brass nozzle, gave it a couple taps, got the ice out of the nozzle, put it back on. Now we got water, he said. I'll remember that. And then the next morning, I'm sitting there on the porch out front, the house is actually I called fire department back in the morning because they started a fire again. And your dad comes by and he says, "I had one of these once," he said. "Not so bad," he said, "you'll get a new house." And he said, "When you're ready in the spring," he said, "just let me know, my man and my crew's gonna dump trucks and backhoe are gonna come over to help you dig your basement." And he came over, Myron and Dave and maybe Kathy was there at the time, maybe Alvin was driving the truck, maybe I don't remember. But they came over and he dug my basement and hauled the rubble away, and it was just a gift, from your dad. And your dad was him and I, we didn't work together, but we knew each other well. We respected each other because we worked, really worked.
They partied well together.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I remember a few.
Yeah. Well, I remember one hunting season, I got a deer and I was tired out. We were actually living in the trailer then because we moved the trailer into the property. We were building a house. And I went to bed after hunting, and there was a party going on where the church departments is up there. There were stalls and the Ellisons and I don't know who all showed up, and your dad and mother were there, and I said, we go over to parties and I'm going to bed. All of a sudden, somebody was shaking me. What is going on? It's Johnny. You're coming over here to party. So I got up in the car, we went up to the party. But he was a great man. He was a great man. I respected him and he respected me, and I knew it. So it was he was such a happy guy.
Yeah, lots of fun. It was a lot of fun. But I think one of those things we touched on a lot was when I was growing up and when all the families knew each other. And we all hung out together. We you know, Memorial Day, Labor Day, and that sense of community, like
Right.
coming over and helping you
Right.
with the fire.
Well,
It was
and
really
then
tight-knit.
we moved to a place, got a place in Gilsrack, we stayed in the fire for a month, acre down there in Northport. And then they had community fish boil over here for us for fundraiser for us, and we got gifts of money and food and clothing and whatever. And it was, you know, everybody, and we did the same thing with somebody else at the top spot. We gave money or whatever we could do, or help other people out, because everybody ends up in a tight spot every once in a while. Sometimes nobody's there to give you a hand, and it's nice when somebody does.
And I feel like that was a resounding thing.
How you meet?
Oh, yeah. How'd you guys meet?
Oh, boy.
He hired me
Oh.
to hoe his strawberry.
Yeah, I hired all the strawberries, yeah. I met her at, I think Big River Base. And then
It was Clayton's, though, right?
It was Clayton's, yeah. And then I would go over to have dinner every once in a while in Marco Polo, she was waitressing over there.
Oh.
So, and I bought her whitefish.
Your love language.
Yeah. So, that's all the tell about that. But that's how I met her, and then we got married in 76 or 77, somewhere around there, and she had Mary and Joe already, and I adopted them because I didn't want their father to become, I didn't want them to be part of their lives, because I didn't think they'd part of his life, because if something would happen to Franny, he'd have parental rights. So I told her that I'll trade the parental rights for child support, because he's not going to send me a check anyway. So we adopted Mary and Joe, and then we had 5 more girls.
Lots of good kids there. All right, anything else? We were going to take questions. Forgot about that part.
Any questions for Neil?
What's the strangest thing that you pulled up in your net?
Oh, good question.
Okay, let me see. My dad got a human leg bone once.
Oh.
Over at the National Islands. Yeah, but he brought it up in the nest, and he brought it, was laying there by the shed, and I said, that looks like a human leg bone. And I had a guy, it was a chiropractor, my dad, who came there, and said, yeah, this is a human leg bone. He sent it into the crime lab in Madison. I can't remember, there was a male of a certain age and certain height, they figured. And that human leg bone, one time we got a little all-four down here. One time we were pulling a pole traffic down north was Whitefish Bay. It was the end of the season, and the net, they weren't fishing whitefish anymore, we were removing the gear. We pulled up under the net, and I said, oh man, there's a big log out there. And all of a sudden the log started doing this. Well, we had a sturgeon in there, it was huge. Sturgeon was so big that it was, we wouldn't have been able to lift it in the boat anyway, because it must have been 200-300 pounds.
How big?
It was about 10 feet long.
Wow, 10 feet long.
Eyeball on it was about this big. And it was so old that the spines were all wore off on it. It wasn't even prickly anymore. But we got it up to the boat, and we got a tangle in the nose, and we released it. Probably still out there running around. So I don't know. I don't know. I've got old chisels, I've got lantern tops, different things that come up in the nets.
Interesting. Do you have another question?
You said there was a cemetery at Appleport?
Yes, there is.
Where is that?
That is right as you go down Raleigh's Bay. Right? As you turn on Big River Road, you turn down Raleigh's Resort. Right in the left-hand side is the cemetery. Down there, there's a lot of, we're related to a lot of the weddings and cities. And there's actually 4 or 5 two soldiers that say Tescon, because one, my grandma and Grandpa Teskie originally had a child. The firstborn they had, they passed away, and they was very young. His name was Anton, whatever, Frank Teskie, and that's my dad's name turned on. So when my dad was born, they named him Frank Anton Teskie. And but that my grandpa changed the name to Teskie, so Tska. We're actually Czechoslovakian or Bohemian. So the name is.
Any other questions? There's gotta be some. Covered a lot.
I'll just say too that Neil and Fran are our neighbors. They really are our neighbors and our, people in our neighborhood. And it was Mary Kay who sold us the land that we built our house on. And I can more about. We just counted a blessing that they are our neighbors. They are two of the hardest working people we have had the privilege of knowing. They're out there all the time, and we just love it when Neil comes and swings close enough for us to hear a story or to say hello. It's just absolutely wonderful.
I sprayed the apples and the strawberries before I came here this morning.
Yeah.
And I gotta go home with Brian Fish for the wedding.
There you go.
And I got boiled fish tonight for the wake up, so.
Oh my goodness.
Yep.
Busy life.
If I wasn't staying busy, it would be, I just thought about it. People say, why do you work so hard? I said, because that's what I like.
Yeah.
I like it.
Doesn't probably feel like what you.
That doesn't feel like work. It's actually, I take my tractor apart, put gaskets in it, and fix it out, and tool it up. And some guy asked me yesterday, "Do you do that all yourself?" I said, "Yeah." But because it gives me a sense of satisfaction, and it also gives me, I'll lay there in bed and I say, why is that not working? I'm trying to figure out, trying to figure out why something's not working. Because I've had to be not going to really reason a lot of things over on the boat. I hear some kind of noise. And where's that noise coming from? What's that doing?
It's not like you can go and just get a car.
No, they don't send boat trucks out there. So a lot of that is when Paul doing some, fixing it up, keep passing up, now we get back to the dock.
Good. All right. Anybody else? This has been fun for me. Trip down memory lane.
I could be going for hours yet.
That's why we got to cut right now.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you so much. It's been wonderful. Thank you, Historical Society.
Thank you, Carol.